INFJs are often called human lie detectors because of their unique ability to sense when something doesn't quite add up. This ability isn't born from a desire to catch others in dishonesty or from a suspicious mindset, but rather from a deep attunement to people's energy, emotions, and patterns. As introverted intuitives, INFJs are naturally wired to read between the lines. When they listen to people speak, they're not just listening to words, they're absorbing the tone, body language, inconsistencies, and the emotional currents beneath the conversation. Even when someone's words are carefully chosen to mislead, INFJs can feel the dissonance between the message being conveyed and the emotional truth hiding underneath. Check out our newly released INFJ Mastery course and INFJ ebook. The links are in the description of this video. Their introverted intuition processes information in a nonlinear way, allowing them to connect dots that others might miss. They might not immediately know why they feel something is off, but their inner compass often alerts them to deception before they have any concrete proof. This intuition works silently in the background, analyzing patterns and behavior, remembering past details, and highlighting discrepancies over time. As a result, INFJs can pick up on subtle shifts in a person's demeanor, like a change in speech rhythm, a slight hesitation, or forced eye contact, that others might completely overlook. Empathy also plays a massive role. INFJs don't just imagine what others are feeling, they actually feel it. So when someone tries to mask their true emotions or intentions, INFJs often experience a kind of emotional dissonance. The words being spoken might sound pleasant, but the emotional undercurrent feels cold, guarded, or incongruent. This internal mismatch becomes a red flag. It's not about being judgmental. It's more like being emotionally allergic to dishonesty. The deeper their bond with someone, the more painful that dissonance becomes, because INFJs crave sincerity and emotional authenticity in their relationships. INFJs spend a lot of time observing. Even in casual settings, they are silently taking mental notes. They notice recurring themes in people's stories, values, and choices. When someone begins to behave in a way that contradicts their previous self, INFJs are likely to pick up on it immediately. And even if they don't confront the lie directly, they will start adjusting their expectations and emotional investment in that person. Their silent noticing makes them formidable when it comes to understanding human nature and discerning truth from facade. This ability is both a gift and a burden. While it allows INFJs to protect themselves from manipulation and deceit, it can also lead to emotional exhaustion. They may struggle with trust because they've seen too many facades. They may find it hard to fully relax around people because their radar is always on, scanning for inconsistencies and emotional truths. They may also find it difficult when others fail to see what's so obvious to them. When people fall for charm that hides harmful intent or mistake manipulation for sincerity. INFJs are human lie detectors not because they seek to expose or accuse, but because their entire way of being is rooted in truth, depth, and emotional congruence. They sense what's beneath the surface, feel what's not being said, and notice what others ignore. Their sensitivity is their strength, and their intuition is their silent ally in navigating a world full of half-truths, subtle performances, and unspoken motivations. The INFJ's ability to detect lies often begins long before the actual words are spoken. It starts with how a person walks into the room, the shift in their energy, the look in their eyes, the way they respond to small talk. INFJs are masters at noticing microexpressions and subtle emotional cues, those fleeting moments of facial expression or body language that betray a person's true feelings. While others might chalk up a nervous laugh or a forced smile to social awkwardness, the INFJ instinctively feels when those gestures don't match the emotional temperature of the room or the individual. They also have a profound memory for emotional experiences. An INFJ might not remember every detail of a past interaction, but they'll remember how someone made them feel, especially if something felt off. When someone lies to them or distorts the truth, that moment leaves a kind of psychic imprint, a sharp, uneasy impression that lingers. This memory becomes a mental reference point. When similar patterns reappear in the future, their intuition rings the alarm, warning them that something familiar and potentially dishonest is unfolding. INFJs are also deep thinkers. They reflect on conversations long after they end, turning over each word and gesture in their minds. This reflective nature allows them to catch lies that didn't immediately register. What might seem like a casual or inconsequential comment to others can haunt an INFJ for days if it doesn't sit right. They revisit those moments, analyze them from multiple emotional and psychological angles, and often come to conclusions that later prove correct. It's not uncommon for INFJs to say, "I knew something was wrong," only to have that suspicion confirmed weeks or months later. Their idealism also helps them detect lies easily. INFJs are deeply committed to authenticity, integrity, and emotional truth. When someone compromises those values, even in subtle ways, it creates an internal clash for the INFJ. They don't just see lying as wrong. They feel it as a kind of personal betrayal. This emotional reaction makes them hypersensitive to deception. It's not about moral superiority, but about alignment. INFJs want to exist in a world where what people say reflects what they truly feel and believe. When they sense dishonesty, it disrupts the emotional harmony they work so hard to create in their relationships and environments. Their natural preference for deep, meaningful connections further sharpens their instincts. INFJs rarely engage in surface-level relationships, and when they do, they still watch closely. They aren't easily fooled by charisma, flattery, or status. They look beyond the mask that someone wears in public and seek out the person behind it. And when there's a disconnect between the persona and the true self, they feel it like a draft through a closed door. That sense of something not adding up gnaws at them until they either confirm the truth or quietly distance themselves. Interestingly, INFJs don't always expose the lies they detect. They often choose silence over confrontation, especially if calling out the dishonesty could harm the relationship or stir unnecessary conflict. Instead, they mentally note the deception, adjust their expectations, and begin to pull back emotionally. In many cases, the liar never even realizes that the INFJ has caught them. This silent discernment is part of what makes INFJs seem mysterious or hard to read. They know far more than they let on. Yet this ability can come with emotional weight. Constantly sensing deception, especially when others around them are oblivious to it, can lead to a kind of existential loneliness. It's hard to trust when your instincts tell you that truth is often hidden or manipulated. INFJs may carry the burden of truth quietly, shielding others from pain while bearing the discomfort themselves. Their gift of discernment isn't just about spotting lies in others. It also involves a relentless pursuit of truth within themselves. INFJs are highly introspective and hold themselves to high moral standards. They can't easily lie to others, or to themselves, without feeling immense internal conflict. This self-honesty deepens their ability to recognize dishonesty in the external world. They know what emotional alignment feels like, and so they can instinctively feel when it's missing in someone else. What truly sets INFJs apart as human lie detectors is the depth of their emotional intelligence and their innate ability to attune to the psychological states of others. They don't just observe behavior, they feel it, absorb it, and almost embody it. When someone lies, even if it's subtle, even if it's with a smile, there's often a ripple in their emotional frequency, a small, almost imperceptible inconsistency that INFJs catch like static in a song. It can be as quiet as the flicker of doubt in someone's eyes, or as loud as forced cheerfulness that doesn't align with the atmosphere. INFJs might not be able to explain how they know, but they feel the emotional vibration of truth, and lies disrupt that resonance. Part of this ability also comes from their gift for seeing what others often don't want to show. INFJs are naturally drawn to the deeper currents beneath surface appearances. While others are engaged in what's being said, INFJs are reading between the lines, noting pauses, hesitations, contradictions, and sudden shifts in body language or tone. They can sense when someone's words are carefully crafted to create a certain impression, even if those words don't reflect the speaker's actual thoughts or feelings. They are highly aware of manipulation tactics, and while they may not react immediately, they store these observations with near-photographic emotional recall. What makes this all the more powerful is that INFJs tend to have rich internal worlds full of insights and associations that connect one experience to another. If someone lied to them in the past, they don't forget the feeling it left behind. If a pattern emerges that mirrors that past experience, their intuition kicks in almost automatically. Even if they can't yet articulate it, something inside them says, "This feels familiar. This isn't right." It's not always logical or linear, but it's accurate more often than not. Because of their empathetic nature, INFJs can imagine themselves in other people's shoes with startling clarity. They understand motivations, fears, and insecurities, even if someone never expresses them out loud. When a lie is told, it often contradicts the emotional reality that the INFJ senses behind the words. They might not say anything, but internally, they're thinking, "That's not what you really feel," or "You're trying to protect yourself," or "You're hiding something painful." In that way, INFJs often recognize that lies are less about malicious intent and more about fear, shame, or insecurity. Though they don't excuse it, they do understand it. This understanding, however, doesn't make them naive. While they may give others the benefit of the doubt, once their intuition confirms a pattern of dishonesty, INFJs begin to detach. They may appear warm and open on the surface, but internally, they begin to shield their energy. Their walls come up, not as revenge or punishment, but as self-preservation. Because trust is sacred to an INFJ, the presence of deception often marks the slow erosion of connection. They simply cannot build or maintain intimacy where truth does not dwell. Ironically, one of the reasons INFJs spot lies so easily is because they themselves find lying so difficult and emotionally distressing. Their integrity is not performative, it's internal. They have a strong conscience and often feel physical or emotional discomfort when they say something that isn't fully aligned with what they believe or feel. This sensitivity makes them highly aware of what dishonesty feels like from the inside. So when they see or sense it in others, it registers quickly. They recognize the signs because they know what it costs to go against your inner truth. INFJs also have a natural sense for masks, those false personas that people wear to fit in, impress, or hide. They can sense when someone is posturing or projecting an image rather than revealing their true self. It's not necessarily about catching someone in a bold-faced lie. It can be as subtle as pretending to be more confident than they feel, acting as if they're fine when they're hurting, or saying something to maintain social harmony while suppressing inner turmoil. To the INFJ, all of these are forms of emotional dishonesty, and they pick up on them instinctively. This gift can sometimes alienate them. In a world where people often reward charm over authenticity, INFJs may feel isolated or misunderstood for their quiet ability to see through facades. They may struggle in group settings where deception or pretense is common because it feels emotionally noisy and disingenuous. They long for depth, for truth, for emotional congruence, and when they don't find it, they retreat into their inner world, where their intuitive knowing can rest undisturbed. What makes INFJs human lie detectors isn't just their intuition, empathy, or insight. It's their courage to face truth, even when it's painful. It's their unwavering loyalty to what is real, even when the world prefers illusion. It's their deep inner knowing that emotional honesty is the foundation of all meaningful relationships, and their quiet refusal to settle for anything less. Check out our newly released INFJ Mastery course, an INFJ ebook. The links are in the description of this video.